Hi, Alicia Stetler here doing the course wrap-up video. Um, I think in 5 years, what I'll remember about this course are the names, faces, and the stories of the women that we learned about in each of the sections. My takeaway from the course is, well, I tried to remain solution-based throughout a lot of the sections, but as the course is wrapping up, I actually feel really discouraged, which kind of brings me to the next question. I had a pretty good idea about human rights violations in regard to women before taking the course, but what I didn't know a lot about is how deep a lot of these gender discriminatory attitudes run. I didn't realize some of the institutional sexism and at the policy level that was occurring in parts of the world, and I didn't realize how slowly progress comes. For example, in section 4, there was a resource that provided information about human rights violations occurring in Jordan in 2004 and identifying concerns and recommendations in that report. And then when I was doing my intervention blog, I found a United Nations document that identified the same exact concerns and recommendations in 2017. So in over a decade, nothing had changed. So what I have come to realize is there's quite a lot of work to be done, and it's not going to be happening quickly. But it's good that we're all social workers, because I think social workers will be involved in the solution and every level that they can be. So at the individual level, at the community level, policy, global. And the reason I think that is because there's not one community or one country in the world that couldn't benefit from some form of social intervention that would make communities safer and more accessible for women. Like, I know that in some parts of the world, the consequences seem really extreme and life-threatening, the consequences to these human rights violations. But I think about, our own communities, like even in the United States, trans women are being murdered and immigrant women are having their babies ripped from their arms. So there's work to do everywhere. So every social worker has a part to play. Even if it's in their own community, they may be affecting global issues just by working in their own community. And I also think that social workers should be involved in like advocacy and policy at an international level. So being involved with the United Nations, as well as with international NGOs and nonprofits who are working to raise funds and advocate and provide direct service in most vulnerable areas in the world. I think overall that social workers have a big part to play. Every person that we learned about had a heartbreaking story, but the one that sticks with me is Saba's story. I think she showed a lot of strength throughout her ordeal. First, in choosing her partner, even when it was against her family's wishes, she made a decision that was best for her, even though most of the young women in her community wouldn't have made that decision. And even in a crisis situation, when they were attempting to murder her, she kept calm and she thought quickly. And just by angling her head, she was able to save her own life without her perpetrators even realizing that she did. I also think that when she agreed to compromise and forgive her perpetrators, that showed a lot of strength. Not because I think it was the right or the wrong thing to do, but just because I think it would have been really difficult. And in her situation, I don't think there was a right way. I think there was just the way that she and her family could live with. Within her household, with her husband and in-laws, I think they showed a strength that they don't necessarily think the way everyone else in their community does, and they seem to have Saba's best interest in mind. Also, I think by Saba at the end of her video had said she hopes she's carrying a girl child because she wants to raise the child to be strong. And I think that by Saba choosing the partner that she did, she really does have a chance to raising her child with a different viewpoint than a lot of girls are raised with in her community. And lastly, I think that the mechanism of maintaining peace in the community by using mediation with a council is a strength for the community. I don't necessarily agree with what they said. I just think having that mechanism in place is a strength. Thank you.